The design and construction of healthcare facilities is continually changing. This is due to competition, increased regulatory requirements, and technological factors. With the changes to patient demographics, healthcare facilities are also noticing an increase in need. These factors provide a greater opportunity for construction work, but not without risk for both PJ Hoerr and our healthcare clients. Healthcare construction is unique because our construction is around patients with compromised health systems. Patients may also be incapable of self-preservation. For this reason, many healthcare facilities are designed to defend in place. It is your responsibility to continually think how your work is impacting patients and the inherent risks associated with your work tasks. It is of utmost importance that we follow required codes to ensure compliance and patient safety. Hospitals and healthcare facilities are monitored and accredited by an authority having jurisdiction, or an AHJ. Common accrediting organizations are the Joint Commission and Det Norske Veritas, or DNV. In addition to these organizations, many of our projects are monitored by the Department of Public Health. When these regulatory agencies inspect a facility, it is common for them to survey our construction sites. During these inspections, they will be evaluating patient risks, ensuring patient safety, and code compliance. The results of these inspections are then forwarded to the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS. CMS has the authority to open and shut down individual departments or entire hospitals. CMS also has the authority to withhold state and federal payments for healthcare services because of non-compliant construction. All PJ Hoerr healthcare projects require each worker to adhere to the guidelines discussed on this video. It should be noted that there may be additional policies and procedures that individual healthcare facilities require and are not specifically noted in this video. These additional requirements will be posted on the job site and must be reviewed by each worker. Before any work begins on the project, each worker must review and become familiar with the PJ Hoerr Care Policy. This policy is included in the PJ Hoerr Care Binder, which contains both PJ Hoerr and facility-specific items. This care binder is located on each PJ Hoerr project site. The first item in the care policy is for each worker to review the proactive or pre-construction risk assessment, otherwise known as the PICRA, and the infection control risk assessment, otherwise known as the ICRA. Each healthcare facility may be different in their labeling of these documents. Every individual worker is required to sign off after review of the document stating they understand the risks and safeguards implemented for the specific project. The PICRA or ICRA must be completed by a collaboration of both the facility and construction teams prior to any work beginning. The document will identify the type of construction activity with a patient risk group to determine what precautions and control measures must be implemented. The document also evaluates risks that the construction work may cause to patients, staff, visitors, and construction personnel. The following are example topics that are found in the PICRA and/or ICRA: air quality, infection control, utility requirements, noise, vibrations, life safety, and hazardous materials. Once risks have been identified, the PICRA or ICRA team will then evaluate the appropriate risk mitigation measures. Risk mitigation can vary from project to project based upon work scope. Examples of risk mitigation measures found within the PICRA or ICRA are constructing barriers, controlling airflow, scheduling for loud activities, accommodating patient, staff, or visitor movement, interim life safety measures, or ILSM, among others. It is important for these risk mitigation procedures to be implemented correctly for the duration of the project. Interim life safety measures, or ILSMs, are an administrative method used to offset a recognized life safety code deficiency. An ILSM should be implemented when construction alters any life safety requirement. Possible examples that would require an ILSM are blocking or temporary changing of exits, loss of integrity of firewalls or smoke barriers, disabling fire alarms or smoke detection systems, or when a life-threatening condition exists. Possible ILSMs include ensuring free and unobstructed exits, ensuring that fire alarm detection and suppression systems are operable, provide additional firefighting equipment and training for staff, among others. It is possible that PICRA or ICRA document will need to be updated during construction. If any changes to the document are needed, contact the PJ Hoerr superintendent. Second in the care policy, each worker must also review the requirements noted in the weekly infection control and safety checklist. This checklist details the items that must be conformed to and checked off at various intervals throughout the day. These items consist of barrier management, clean job sites, proper air pressurization of the job site, and other job-specific items. These checklists will be managed by the PJ Hoerr site supervisor, but every worker will be responsible for adherence to all items. The third item in the care policy is a culmination of the training and planning for each specific work task being performed by each contractor and worker. This is the Daily Construction Activity Risk Evaluation Form, or the CARE form. This form is to be filled out daily. The supervisor for each contracting firm will fill out a form each day for the work they are performing. This form will then be reviewed and signed by each worker for that contractor. When all have signed, the PJ Hoerr supervisor will review and sign the form, which will allow work to begin for that day. No work is to be performed without a completed care form. This form is designed to identify and safeguard hazards found specifically on healthcare projects. Some items to note regarding the care form are as follows. All work scope, manpower, materials, and equipment must be noted and must match the actual work being performed throughout the day. If work scope changes, the care form must change. There is a location on the form for each contractor to note that they are familiar with the project-specific PICRA or ICRA document. This document must be used in conjunction with filling out the care form. All potential risks must be noted. Each risk will then be evaluated and control measures must be established to mitigate the risk. These control measures are required to be in place before the work begins. All this is to be documented on the form. The care policy also includes any facility-specific work permits. All planned utility shutdowns should be coordinated with the PJ Hoerr superintendent and requires a minimum of 72-hour notice or longer, as specified by the facility. Shutdowns of HVAC systems, electrical systems, plumbing systems, or any other mechanical system in a healthcare facility can be fatal, no matter how short the duration of the interruption. All shutdowns shall be coordinated with the PJ Hoerr supervisor, healthcare facility personnel, and impacted department representatives so that all affected parties are properly informed and understand the scheduled shutdown. No existing system shall be inspected or modified without an improved work plan. Each facility will have their own procedures for shutdowns, hot work, and above-ceiling activities. Prior to any piping modifications, hangers shall be verified to be in good condition and functioning properly. Additionally, if any cut is to be made on vertical pipe, verify that a support or hanger is in place both above and or below the cut. All core drilling activities need to be coordinated with the PJ Hoerr superintendent. When any pipe is being modified, it is required that the project specifications and facility requirements be evaluated for pressure testing procedures. When required, these tests should be fully documented and a report given to PJ Hoerr and the owner. Finally, the care policy will include any facility-specific work rules and requirements. These must be reviewed by each worker prior to working on site the first time. In addition to the care policy previously discussed, there are other specific guidelines that must be followed on all healthcare projects. It is the expectation of PJ Hoerr that all workers conduct themselves in a courteous and professional manner at all times. Offensive clothing and foul language will not be tolerated on site. Clothing should have full sleeves, pants, and work boots, and all clothing wiped down prior to leaving the construction area to prevent the spread of dust to occupied areas of the facility. All contractor employees will park in assigned areas as designated by the site map. Failure to do so may result in ticketing and towing without notice. All material deliveries should be coordinated with the PJ Hoerr superintendent and the site-specific requirements found in the care binder. In addition, all construction employees should use the contractor entrances as highlighted on the site map. Emergency exit routes from construction areas shall be posted at the entrance to the job site. Please review these at the start of the project and anytime access points change. All PJ Hoerr projects are smoke-free and tobacco-free job sites, which include the use of e-cigarettes. In addition, the use of alcohol or drugs is strictly prohibited. Any work conducted under the influence of drugs or alcohol is not permissible, and any persons found in non-compliance with these policies will be removed from the job site. Many of our healthcare clients require construction personnel to clearly display ID badges and stay current on certain vaccinations. Most healthcare facilities require all construction employees to have a flu vaccine and possibly other vaccinations as well, including a Tdap. If this is required, documentation of this should be sent to the PJ Hoerr project manager. Prior to starting work, check with the PJ Hoerr superintendent on facility-specific badging and vaccination requirements. Restroom facilities will be designated to construction areas or as designated by the facility manager and PJ Hoerr superintendent. All employees are responsible to secure their tools and equipment if not in use, and are not to leave any equipment unattended. All construction equipment should be stored in designated areas. Movement of material, equipment, and debris through the facility are restricted to designated pathways. Identify the site map for specific transport routes. All supply and dump carts should be in good working condition and not scratch the floor finishes and roll quietly as not to disturb staff and patients. All debris carts should be cleaned from surface dust and covered during transport through any healthcare building. Most healthcare projects will require the use of HEPA filters to be running continuously throughout the course of construction. If these HEPA filters are on site, they are never to be left turned off. In addition, all exterior windows shall remain closed unless required to discharge air to the outside. Please reference the PICRA or ICRA and verify if negative pressure is to be maintained in the project site. All HVAC return grills must be covered with filter media or completely sealed as defined in the PICRA or ICRA. When performing dust or fume generating work inside or outside of the healthcare facility, review placement of intake or return grills that may transport these dusts or fumes throughout the hospital. When temporary barriers are being used, they must be constructed properly with fire-resistant materials and fully sealed. Temporary doors should remain closed when not in use and have the ability to lock. Time to time, these barriers may need to be maintained. If the barrier needs attention, please notify the PJ Hoerr superintendent immediately so it can be repaired. All construction entrances should be checked and locked at the end of each work shift. If any work or investigation needs to take place outside of the project barrier boundaries, notify the PJ Hoerr superintendent. Under no circumstances shall a ceiling tile be removed without proper barriers to contain the work area. When exiting the project site, everyone should utilize the provided shoe cleaning equipment prior to walking into the occupied area of the facility. In most instances, there will be sticky mats to clean the bottom of the footwear. Each sticky mat has multiple sheets that can be pulled to create a new cleaning surface. It is everyone's responsibility to pull the sticky mats when needed. Rated assemblies are often impacted in healthcare projects. It is important for these rated assemblies to be constructed as designed. Any penetration in a rated assembly must follow the applicable requirements set forth in an approved UL assembly. Each facility may have different requirements for labeling and fire stopping penetrations. Contact the PJ Hoerr superintendent for clarification or if any deficiencies are noticed. If work is to be conducted above a ceiling, contractors should inspect existing penetrations to ensure they are properly sealed and verify that existing utilities are hung correctly. If any deficiencies are observed, immediately notify the PJ Hoerr superintendent. It is also important to be mindful of patient confidentiality and HIPAA laws. Each construction worker is held to the same standard as anyone working directly for the healthcare organization. Violation of these laws can be cause for immediate termination as well as legal implications. When working in healthcare facilities, patient care and safety is our top priority. If you feel that any risk is not being mitigated properly, notify PJ Hoerr management immediately. If any worker on the job site is found in violation of any safety-related item, PJ Hoerr and each facility client reserve the right to terminate the offending employee and escort them off the respective campus.